Hello, everybody. I'm super thrilled today on this new episode of mine. I'm truly excited. Why? Also, because I've got a very good friend with me. He is one of the renowned luxury fashion photographers in India, and he is truly a magic behind the camera. So, we're going to talk a little bit on his journey. It's been an interesting journey. I've known bits and pieces of it, but today I'm going to know a little more insights on his personal journey as well as entrepreneurial journey. So we have with us today Mr. Rid Burman. Welcome, Rid. It's truly a pleasure to have you with me today. I've known you personally as a friend, but I want to talk today a little bit on your journey in terms of behind the camera. And you've been doing exceptionally well, and it's truly, truly inspiring. So over to you. I want to know a little bit, was photography always a passion, or was it like a dream which you manifested and it came to you naturally?
First of all, Siddharth, thank you, man. It's we're friends first, and it's just been kind of
Yeah,
you've seen me start my journey a long
yeah.
time ago, and thank you for this. It's very kind of you to put me in your list of all these amazing people that you've already sort of done this with. So I'm grateful for it. Um, where was I? Yeah. So to answer your question, I, in all honesty, actually, because my parents are both artists, they're both fine artists. So for them, commercial art sort of was never a thing. So advertising, which is what I do, which is commercial art, uh, technically wasn't something that we would be sort of very proud of doing. But hey, I mean, it's equally as intense and creative as fine art, I would say. But and photography was not my journey actually. Originally I wanted to be a sculptor. I
Okay.
wanted to do ceramics and cast iron and all that. But photography has always been with me forever. Like I can remember being very serious about taking pictures when I was 7 years old. You know, my mom gave me this flat Kodak cameras where you put in these 16 films. Um, and then from there, my father giving me my first serious Nikon SLR when I was in class 9, and him walking me around different places. So there's always been a massive amount of passion for this. And and somehow I sort of it became my main discipline, my métier, as we call it. Um, I guess I don't exactly know, but maybe when I started off and I wanted to be a fine art um, craftsman, sort of, so where the whole love for sculpture, and so it was just all like crafting and making things and all that. So I think a lot of it came from that. So the idea of making a picture came from it, which is why I still love shooting on film and going to the dark room and printing. And I like the process and the things that require a lot of hands and manual sort of love and thought and stuff like that. So I guess all that led to when I started photography, it was all still very film, very manual, not as digital stuff existed. So I think that's sort of so I guess it's this whole yearning for creating something artistic with your hands,
Okay.
and photography was allowing that at that point. That's what led to it.
Your
And
journey, in terms of you've done a lot of work in New York, in Paris, and then coming to the Indian market, what has that challenge been like? What is the things you see differently, when you're shooting in India? And I think you have probably touched almost all the luxury, whether it comes to magazines or celebrities, or even brands like Louis Vuitton, Tira, and so many other brands out there. So I think you really hit the right segment, which and the work which you do speaks volumes. So what has that shift been from in the international market to the Indian market?
two things. First, when I first moved back to India, which was 2006, 7, when we all were,
Yeah,
I think it was a huge exodus of all of us who were studying abroad, working abroad, coming back into India. The subprime crisis had just hit the US. You know, they had that first, and I at that point had just sort of stopped assisting. So before that, I was I was working as a photo assistant with all these big photographers for
Wow.
almost 5 years, so slogging it out there and all that. But I was making money because the industry was very well paid at that time, extremely. As an assistant, I would make $20,000 a month, easy, eyes closed.
Oh, nice.
Um, but now what's happened is, of course, it's all, but I saw a lot of that with it. Just as a fresh, I think I was 24, 23, 24 years old at that time. And I just sort of put down a lot of the money that I made on a loft in Brooklyn, Williamsburg. I had sort of just started off, got my own equipment, started my own studio, so put down a lot of money, and then this whole thing hit. And suddenly, within a span of 4 to 5 months, the industry overseas just completely changed. I had a contract with a couple of these e-com sites that were just coming up at that time. Nobody had started e-com at that time. Talk about 2005, 6, I think. It was just sort of beginning and all collapsed and this and that and this and that. And then suddenly I was like, oh shit, how do I pay rent? How do I pay my mortgage? How do I pay all that stuff? So I could feel, and then living in the US, zero support system, right?
Mhm.
And in the meantime, India's story at that time was like this massive growth, and Vogue had just launched and all that. And they called me. Vogue had launched in India, and they said, come for a while, because at that time of course they had a lot of money, and they were getting all these fancy names, big guys from New York and London and all that to fly down and shoot the covers and the main parts. But the small portraits in the beginning at the back of the book,
Mhm.
um, they were not being able to find enough local talent to do those, because the big local talent wouldn't want to shoot those small portraits. You know,
Right.
they also want to do the covers and the main center of the book.
Right.
And in the difference in quality, there was nobody new or fresh with that kind of international sensibility who would want to do those small portraits for Vogue when they launched in India.
Okay.
So because whoever was at that time in India were quite well established, and they're like, we don't do all these small stuff, right? So they needed somebody with a bit of a language and thought process and could do interesting work. And
Mhm.
so they flew me down. They almost signed me in for like a 3, 4 month contract, said to just shoot these. So I was having a great time. I flew into Bombay, and then my mom luckily had a house at that time. So that's where all of us met, and Sid, and
Yeah.
and then we all sort of started, and then I started working. Um, there was still a significant amount of difference in the process of working, right? In early 2000, unfortunately, India didn't have a structure at all. It was just all over the place. There was um, no agencies. How in New York or Paris or London or something, you'll have a photo agent, right, who would structure out your contracts. Infrastructure was a mess in India. There was, I'm talking about early 2000, when I first moved. There are certain kind of lights, equipment, all of that didn't exist. I literally paid customs a ridiculous amount of money to fly down a container full of like these really sort of cutting edge equipment, and all that. So that was then. Cut to today, um, and the studios are falling apart and dusty and all that and all that and all that. Nobody knew the way, like, proper electrical systems didn't exist to shoot and all that. Cut to today, 20 years later, massive improvement, at least when it comes to equipment and technology and all that. We have anything under the sun. Everything is available here.
Right.
In fact, India probably has way better equipment than a lot of the Asian countries when it comes to shooting. Um, Forget Japan, and I don't know China. I'm not explored there, but at least in comparison to, say, Thailand and all that, we have a lot of very good technicians, very good equipment. Unfortunately, we don't have the right infrastructure yet, which is something
Mhm.
that we've always lacked. We don't have the right kind of studios, locations, roads, this, that. You want to shoot in a metro in Bombay, it's not possible. You want to do so. These challenges still exist a lot, you know.
Okay.
Uh, to make things look global, you need that kind of infrastructure. We
Right.
still don't have that. That's where we're lacking. I don't know if that answers your question, sort
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. So also I want to know, Red, what is your vision forward? Like if I see you 5 or 10 years down the line, what is the kind of targets you set for yourself on a daily basis? Or, where do I see you probably in terms of, even if it has to be photography, where all do you want to achieve in life?
You know, I think it's very important for artists, not just as a photographer, but as a creative individual to keep up with what's happening around you, right? Current
Mhm.
trends, current things that people are looking for trends, I guess. And
Yeah.
and trends is not a nice word, but maybe that's the word. And well, also technology, it's so advanced. We look at AI. So I kind of think in the next 5 to 7 years, maybe, how earlier I was shooting everything on a big camera with these 4x5 sheets,
Yeah.
to then it became some digital cameras, big digital cameras, big lenses. I still shoot with a few films, blah, blah, blah. To now, maybe I will probably land up creating a picture with AI on a screen, right? I'll be
Mhm.
prompting and doing it.
Okay.
Um, or sort of creating a whole section or running a studio with a bunch of people prompting for me, with 7, 8 computers, and like an entire group of people creating this beautiful AI module. I would like to be there at least to keep up, and work with and create beautiful visuals um, for commissions, maybe for a brand or something, and work with that. Maybe a mix of shooting something extremely manual on film and a beautiful handprint meets AI. I don't know, a marriage of old and new,
Mhm.
and create a very unique blend, a very unique language, which, because everything is going to be so homogenous, I think in the
Yeah.
next 5 to 6 years, everybody's going to have access to everything.
Yeah.
Um, you've got to really find a very unique voice for yourself
Right.
that that people are going to still come to you for because they want that.
Right.
So that I think is key.
There are a lot of people who want to pursue photography. Today, I think any party, anywhere you go, you want to click a selfie. You don't,
Right.
it's become without photography, I think today's world would not go forward. So,
Mm.
in terms of proper photography, if people want to get into that trade, especially the youth
Mm.
of our country, what are the kind of attributes one must have? Is it just passion driven, or you think there has to be some sort of a course which they should join, or what is the way they can, up their photography game, according to you?
Depends on how serious they want to be, right? I mean, if do they want to make this a profession where they want to be disciplined about it and want to do it daily, where they want to shoot advertising campaigns, and so that it's not easy. It is not going to get easier. In fact, it's going to get way harder. My generation of photographers is probably going to be the last ones to see some kind of economic sort of well-being, as I would call it. Not even that much anymore. It's just going to wither away slowly,
Okay.
because there is so many more people. There is so much more technology, and it's a cost end of the day for a business, right? To do a big photograph of their, and so I think a lot of that is, and for any business, any way they can avoid cost
Yeah.
is a good thing. Money saved is
Yeah.
money earned for
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So eventually, if that's what they're looking at, it is going to get harder. So um, you have to have a lot of passion
Right.
to do this. And eventually, I think if you really want to continue doing it, you have to forget the fact that you can make a living with it. I think you have to sort of do it just purely because you love
Mhm.
making images.
Yeah.
If you can make a living doing it, that's a bonus, but I don't think it's going to be easy. Um, I, so that's one thing I would just put out there. It is going to be tougher and tougher and tougher.
Okay.
Uh, Secondly, yes, if you really do want to take it seriously and think that this is something that you would really want to do, education is very important. Any kind of photography course,
Yeah.
understanding
Yeah.
the discipline and the craft and the grammar of it. How does a camera work? How does this lens work? How does
Yeah.
perspectives work? How does light work? How do you read light? How do you mold light? These things are very important. It's very important, even if AI comes, right? In fact, I
Mhm.
have a conference with Meta, in fact, where we will go out and talk or whatever. We'll work on it, but it is about, because I have a very good hardware knowledge. When I work with AI, that interaction of the knowledge of hardware that I am giving as an input really helps the AI to design an image.
Right.
So I think it's very important to have
Okay.
that kind of very strong hardware knowledge.
Okay.
of how a camera works. How do you mold light? What kind of light shaping tools do you need to create a certain effect? All
Okay.
that.
Okay, so now this comes to a fun segment, my rapid fire round to know you personally, even though I know you personally, but I don't know what all you like. So this is going to be something interesting. So to begin with, what is your favorite holiday destination which you can go probably 7 days a week? And you think that, that destination, when you're taking a camera with you, you would capture the best.
Japan.
Okay. Um,
Anywhere in Japan, man.
okay.
I would go insane. Yeah.
Okay.
Anywhere in Japan, because there's just something so meticulous about everything they do. Even the way they put a bloody wire on a pole.
Okay.
It's photogenic to me.
Okay.
Only the Japanese do things like that. I have not seen that anywhere else in the world.
Okay.
So yeah.
Your favorite muse in terms of you photograph it can be a celebrity or any person you think, who's
Oh,
been
my
with
wife.
Okay.
SDJ. Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get any brownie points for saying that. Are you saying that just, just,
No, 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 no. My wife, in general, she's a model, man, and she is amazing. Not because of the fact that she's my wife. She is, I mean, as a model, just the way she moves, and also she's, the where she comes from, very educated, very the thought process, and she
right.
brings a lot of depth to what she does in front of the camera, and I love it. It's very
Okay.
different. Plus, on top of that, the comfort factor is very different.
Okay.
So I have a great model who is my wife, who's just sort of, we don't have any inhibitions. Then, of course, what we are shooting is we did a book on each other right now.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, great.
So it's different
Your
story.
favorite cuisine, which you can probably eat 7 days a week without blinking an eyelid.
Japanese.
Okay. Uh, if you're a foodie, which I presume you love food, and if you like to cook, what is that one dish you would make? What is that one
It's
dish you would make?
funny. Biryani, man.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
Yeah, of course. I would love to make some nice, good
Yeah,
avdi mutton biryani.
okay. What is that one genre of music which really soothes you down and when you're really stressed out, you like listening to?
Um, Interesting. I see. I can. I like jazz.
Okay.
Manouche jazz. Yeah, any kind of jazz. I think it would really sort
Wow.
of gets the head
Yeah,
interestingly in a good space. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And also one of your current favorite reads.
There's I just finished reading this book with Yuval Noah Harari, which I actually really enjoyed. Fuck, I'm forgetting the name now. Um, the new one that he just wrote, which is on AI.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, so and then there's another one. A friend of mine, I just saw a book on Leonard Cohen, so
Okay.
she's sending that to me. It's about his poetry, so I
Lovely.
want to read that. Yeah,
And the last question of the rapid fire, what is your go-to motto in life that you stand
surrender and flow.
by? Nice one.
Surrender and flow. Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta just world will throw missiles at you. Just gotta figure out how to dodge them and just do your thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And my last question to you for this episode, Rid, would be, brands like LV or any topmost brands, there are a lot of specifications which one needs to follow. It's
Mm-hmm.
not easy to capture these kind of luxurious brands which has been followed by the entire world. So a little
Mm-hmm.
bit on that, what was your experience like? Was it a difficult experience? Because I'm sure there must be a lot of do's and don'ts, when you're capturing a brand like that. What is that kind of experience for you, and what was the working experience, especially working for a brand like LV?
So LV, let me tell you, let me be clear on it. It was LV for Fornasetti, which is they had a um it's a wallpaper house actually
Okay,
from Italy. So they did a collaboration, very beautiful product. So we're shooting that for a specific, it was an advertorial for a magazine called Citizen
okay,
K out of Paris. And Vuitton, they actually let me be. They didn't say anything. They were just
okay,
like, explore. We want you to have fun with it, and we wanted to have some shadows and light, and how Fornasetti, the idea is just these sort of a bit of surrealistic illusion. So play with that. I said, done. That's it. And we just had fun. So that's why those images came out so beautiful.
Yeah, so that's
But then there are other brands when they're doing a campaign where it'll be like Tira. Tira also lets me be, to be honest. They have, of course, they have a parameter because the
right,
celebrities, they want to look a certain way. They want to look a certain way. They want to have, and then there's a certain language that they want to create. So you play within that parameter. You don't really uh, not well, sometimes you'll have a designer or a creative director with you who has a particular vision and they want to do it like that. So then you kind of want to work with that, even though it might make the things a bit rigid.
right.
But hey, they've commissioned me to do it, so I've got to
Yeah.
do it.
So
That's what
great.
it is.
Yeah, it was such a lovely chat with you, Red. It's always amazing to catch up with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in Bombay very soon.
Yeah,
Wishing you the
man.
very
It's been a
best for
while.
all your future endeavors, man. I'm really, really proud of the work you're doing. So this has been really, pleasant with talking to you, and it's always a pleasure to connect with you, man. So see you soon in the Bay,
Yeah.
and
It's in Bombay.
give regards to the boys also, and much love to your wife as well. So look forward to catching you both, and see you really soon on the other side, man.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Ciao.
chatting again.
Huge love to the girls, huh, at home.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And I hope to see you in Calcutta sometime soon again. You know,
Yeah, no, I actually will be coming to Cal end of March. I'll message
oh,
you
okay, fine.
before.
So just yeah,
I
yeah,
have to
let's
come end of
connect.
March because of some family stuff. Yeah,
Okay, so let's connect then, man, for sure.
so I'll send you. Yeah.
Right. Cheers,
All
man.
right,
Take care.
man.
Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.